What's up, guys? We are back with another episode of the Style Series, and today we have a special guest. Her name is Cin, and she is a designer that is local to the Seattle area, and she's incredibly talented. We've actually had several conversations with Cin this year, but we had to get her in for an interview, so we're so happy to have you on the show today.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, so tell us just a little bit about yourself, what you do, how long you've been in the city for.
I've been in Seattle for about 10 years, and I consider Seattle my home. You know, I do love it here. I came from Texas, San Antonio, Texas, and I moved here in 2014, and it's just been this incredible journey so far, I would say. I've grown a lot into, I feel like, who was meant to become, and I think that Seattle kind of pushed me to kind of become that, which has been pretty incredible. Seattle is, in my opinion, a place for you to reflect because we're inside much more than a lot of different states. We tend to open our creative minds because it's a lot colder most of the year and darker, and you know, today's a beautiful day, but there are many days where you find yourself just wanting to be at home and open your creative mind. And so I owe that to Seattle, I think.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I feel like we can all relate to that.
Yeah.
I'm a native as well, so I also feel that, you know, the weather does affect my creativity in a positive way. It inspires me to make things that are brighter, more bold, colorful, even just like the way that I dress.
Mm-hmm.
I feel that. But I want to hear just a little bit about the things that have led up to this exact moment where we're sitting today. The last time that we talked to you on Style Series was in July. Yeah, it was July.
July, yes.
Touring cars at the LeMay Car Museum. We spoke to you after the show. We loved your collection. Seriously, just amazing work. And you showed us, or gave us some insight into where that collection was inspired from and where the ideas came from, the colors, the textures. I'd love for you to kind of circle back to that and tell us just a little bit more.
Yeah. Well, as you know, in that moment, that was actually a very emotional moment for me. And I think anytime I do have shows, I feel like I tend to be a little more emotional than your average person, just because I feel like I pour a lot of my creativity with my emotions. Like, it's all tied into one. And I actually, this past year, have gone through a pretty significant breakup. And so that everything is tied into how I feel and how I move. And I think that collection kind of embodied my heartbreak, my breakup. And so I feel like I kind of dedicated that, you know, entire collection to my heartbreak. I was mourning the loss of someone so significant in my life, a very powerful, excuse me.
Yeah, no.
My relationship was it was a big part of me.
Yeah.
You know, and I had, you know, my children, and, you know, that's a part of everything I kind of do. Mm-hmm. Excuse me. I don't know why I'm getting emotional about it.
This is what we do. We are real on the Style Series. Fashion is connected to emotions. It's connected to our lives. It's who we are. And whether you're a designer or somebody that just loves to dress up, or you're a stylist, who you are on the inside is reflected on how you dress yourself on the outside. And as a designer, like, you put your emotions into your collection, and the reason why I wanted to start out with that was because it was so profound and memorable.
Yeah.
And now that it's been a few months since then, like, looking back on that, do you feel like that collection gave you the closure that you needed?
Absolutely. You know, and I feel like as a creative, oftentimes when people think about, oh, you're a fashion designer, that's really cool, but what else goes along with the fashion, right? Me, it's the music. Like, the music was tied directly into that entire collection. I made sure, and I feel like every collection that I kind of come out with, I'm paying attention to the music that I'm putting out. I'm paying attention to the color scheme, and is it like a collective flow of that same exact feeling, right? And so for me, a lot of my roots and culture goes back to Spanish passion, you know? I do have a lot of that within me, and growing up in Texas and being around so much passion and culture within the Spanish culture, I wanted to kind of represent that as well with my collection, because my culture is just a part of me, I think, in everything that I do. And in Texas, fashion is a big thing.
Yeah.
You know, like
More than here, for sure.
yeah, fashion is a big thing in Texas, and you know, everyone dresses up for any little occasion, and I think that I saw that a lot growing up too. And so it's just become a part of me. I like to dress up in any way that I go, and I think also too, I like to express myself as a creative. And when I did Coutures and Cars, that was kind of how I was able to express that with the clothing, match the Spanish guitar on the music scene. It was just all about representation and, you know, how I feel inside. I think I kind of am like a Spanish guitar. It's somewhat sad, but yet beautiful.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna cry. That's so beautiful.
Yeah, I think that that's kind of why I wanted to kind of represent that, because I think a lot about who I am on the inside is, you know, on the outside you may look a certain way, but, you know, I am a Spanish guitar.
You are. I feel like who you are really, really comes through in the collections that I've seen from you. Very romantic.
Mm-hmm.
You have the black with the red, very much like this set.
Yes, it's very me.
Well, I love it. Do you think that that's something you're going to be consistent with all of your collections going forward, or do you think you're going to play a little bit more with color and different types of styles?
You know, I know I tend to notice I stick to a lot of the same color schemes. I'm a big fan of romantic fabrics, right? And how to like make even like the most structured outfit feel romantic. Wearing a blazer with flowy satin pants, you know, like that is how you kind of are able to take away the roughness of a fit, right? And oftentimes we as women, you know, I've heard it so many times before, like suits for so long were kind of like, why is she wearing a suit, you know? And I think that growing up, I didn't see a lot of women kind of embracing their authentic selves within fashion. It's like, okay, someone else is wearing that, I want to wear it too. And I don't really think that, I don't think that we should do that anymore. And any opportunity that I get to kind of represent my love for fashion within a suit, I try to do that, and in switching it up, right? Using different fabrics and silks and satins and things like that. You can play with them, and they're such a romantic fabric, in my opinion.
They go together
yes,
so well.
And lace, you know, I love lace. Seeing women wearing lace, and even men. I think oftentimes men are afraid to step out of their comfort zone with some of these beautiful fabrics. I love seeing men in satin and silk. I think it's so beautiful.
Me too.
And so, yeah, I did that in Coutures and Cars too.
It was a stunning collection. So I want to talk about the name, your brand's name. You've gone through a rebrand this year.
I did.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, so it all starts with my kiddo. Everything goes back to my kiddos. My son, I had him when I was really young in my early 20s. I mean, I wasn't like super young, but you know, I grew up with him. And my son's name is Isaiah. And as far back as I can remember it, I've been calling him Zaya. So Cin is the name of my brand, and it's named after my son. My son, I would say, is probably my daughter's beautiful.
She's so cute and precious.
She's so precious, but my son, I grew up with him. And so he's been a driving force in my life. I don't think that I think oftentimes we as women, especially single women, we question the choices that we make, you know, like, why did I do this or why did I do that? Especially for a woman like me who hasn't really conformed to what society says I was supposed to do or how my life is supposed to look like. Having 2 children out of wedlock, I don't feel any shame in it. And I think that my son has kind of helped me push for that. Yeah. You know, I wouldn't be who I am today if it wasn't for him. And he's really big on telling me how proud he is of me on a regular, you know, and he's 12.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and he tells me all the time, you know, what he thinks about whenever I have a collection. Yeah. He gives me his honest input, and he's always pushing, go mom, go mom, go mom. And he's the only really, you know, man of my life that kind of does that. So it all started with him. Originally, I started off as Luxea.
Yeah.
Luxea. Okay. I started my brand during COVID. I got laid off like a lot of people, and I think I've told this story before. And I just, oftentimes, if we come from circumstances where we don't have like a lot of resources, we don't really feel worthy of like going off and doing our own thing, you know? And I was so tired of telling myself that, you know, tired of like, I couldn't do it because I didn't have either the resources or the money or to start. And so I just started, and I rebranded because I think I don't want to just be known as a boutique. You know, I'm not a boutique. Yeah. I'm more than just a boutique. I'm a fashion designer. I'm a creative. I'm an artist. And so my brand is called Cin Barron, but it's, you know, Cin Barron. That's who I am. Cin Barron. Yeah, that's who I am. And I want to make an effort to, you kind of talk about that too, because it should be a part, your brand or whoever you're trying to become should be you, right? It should be who you are. And so that's why I switched it to that.
I love that. So you did the rebrand, that was in August.
Yes.
And so now going forward, your brand and you are known as Cin Barron.
Cin Barron.
I love that. So Seattle is known for its, shall I say, unique fashion.
Whoa.
It's a mix of things, our fashion scene. But there's definitely a fashion community out here.
Yes.
So with that being said, why or how do you feel like your brand fits into that? And how do you want it to fit in? You know?
Yeah, so I think going back to like what I said earlier, I think a lot of times there's like a lot of mimicking of different fashions and brands. And a lot of my inspo comes from some of like the greatest fashion houses. My favorite all-time designer is Alexander McQueen, rest his soul. If you don't know who he is, he died from suicide a long time ago, I believe in 2010. But to me, he was one of the greatest fashion designers that I've ever seen growing up, watching his tailoring and the color schemes. I feel like I really can relate to him as a designer. Secondly, would probably be Versace. I love Versace, and then ultimately YSL is one of my favorite brands. So, and of course your fellow Coco. You know, we all love Coco. But my all-time favorite would be Alexander McQueen. Yeah.
So given those inspirations,
yes,
your collection is different because it kind of forces people to step out of what you would usually see.
Yes.
In like day-to-day, everyday wear, business casual wear.
Yes.
Your designs are very elevated and functional. Like you can wear them to work, and it's transitional to dinner.
Yes.
To date night.
Yes.
Going out. So that's what you mean by not wanting to mimic.
Yeah, I don't want to mimic, and I think too, like fashion to me is should be classy, right? We don't want to dress in ways that are not expressive, right? Just throwing on a piece of clothing, but why are you wearing that piece of clothing? Like, what does it embody for you? And I think for me, when I think about fashion, is pushing that barrier, right? Like not just going on your fellow, like, online store and buying something because everyone's wearing it or it's a fad right now. Finding those classic pieces that that transcend to your personality. And I find myself to be very sexy, but still very classy, and I take a lot of pride in that. I don't think that we should have to buy clothing that's just what's on the internet right now. Can you dress sexy but still be very classy? And I find myself to really take pride in that.
I see that too. I feel my best self when I was wearing your pieces, especially the one that you gave to me with the satin skirt and it was the blazer on top.
Love it.
Deep V neckline.
Yes.
I felt like my most powerful self.
Good. As you should.
Yeah, and so I guess that being said, like, what do you want your clients to feel? What are some traits you want them to feel when they wear your pieces?
I think ultimately whatever it means for you to feel your best, right? Like I'm playing out a movie in my head all the time. And so runway, I feel like that's what I do with runway. I'm like, how does this song match this dress or this pantsuit or this skirt? And how are they gonna look when they walk? What is on the screen? What music is playing? It's a film. Yeah. And I feel like I've always been like that with everything that I do. I feel like I'm a producer in my mind.
Definitely. You're a creative director.
Yes, a creative director of like from beginning to end. And so it starts with the song, it goes into an outfit, and then from there I'm playing out what that looks like in my head. And then I put it on paper. I'm drawing it out. Yeah, I'm sketching it, and then I use a lot of film. Like I watch a lot of film on different, fashion and what that looks like, and how that can match, kind of like this idea. I always want everything to have a flow of process. And I think that's why I always start with music.
That's a great start.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so goes from sketching, and then you hand make all of your pieces?
Some. I started off with like a lot of like wholesale. I started off like that. And then I went from wholesale to customizing, and then from customizing, I started making my own items. Like I said, I didn't have a lot of the resources growing up to go to like fashion school, nor did I ever feel worthy of it. That was a big thing for me that I kind of have had to learn to take away those, those mindsets that we have as, growing up, I was always told that artists didn't make money. That wasn't a way for you to have a life. And I think that's like a culture thing. Yeah. But as I've gotten older, I really don't believe in believing what other people tell me I should do. And so I've had to learn how to like make my own clothing. I've taken classes and a lot of YouTube.
YouTube University.
YouTube University. And so I've learned a lot over the past years, and I'm one of those people where I'm continuously learning. It doesn't stop with fashion for me. I want to be a fashion house. It's not just about clothing. It's going to be about styling. It's going to be on a larger perspective, and I do visualize myself that way. I'm not stopping with just runway. I'm not stopping with just fashion.
Yeah, the sky's the limit for you.
Sky's the limit. I do believe that in myself, and I'm honestly, I see it. Like when I think about my future, I see that happening for myself, and I truly believe it. And I think that's where manifestation is kind of different for some people. Yeah. If you truly believe, like in your heart, wholeheartedly, that you're going to have something, that you deserve it, you'll get it.
Definitely. Do you have any morning affirmations that you like to recite?
Well, every morning I wake up and I meditate for 15 minutes here in my living room. And then after that, I just kind of talk to myself in my mind. And as a creative, I think just naturally, I'm a little more harder on myself, just in general.
Me too.
Yeah, I think that self-talk is really powerful. And if you're talking negatively about your life, or maybe you feel like you're not loved, or you don't have the approval of someone, it can really just change how your life goes.
Yeah.
So when you switch that to something positive and feeling like you're worthy, your life can really change.
Your life does change. I 100% believe that. My mom always told me, like, be careful of the words that you say out loud.
Mm-hmm.
Write everything you want down. Write your dreams down. Write the things that are happening down.
Absolutely.
Like, keep a record.
Mm-hmm.
Because looking back at that, you're just like, you'll be like, wow. Especially when you're feeling kind of defeated or unmotivated. I love looking back at some of the things I've written down and seeing just how much like God was able to make things happen in my life that I didn't even notice.
Yeah.
In the times that they were happening. So yes, I'm a firm believer in what you say matters.
Yeah.
And we are the writers of our story.
Absolutely. Yes.
And so we want to know about who you are as a designer, yes, but we want to know, who are you at your core? What makes you cry? Like, what makes you care about this and love this so much?
Mm-hmm.
Because then people that don't care about fashion, people that are like, oh, it's just clothes. Oh, like,
It's not.
Fashion. It's not.
It's really not. And I think, you know, it all goes back to that original thing that I said, where it's like we have shame in our lives. A lot of people have shame and they don't feel worthy, or they don't feel like it's to me, what I'm doing right now is a privilege. Yeah. I feel so honored to, you know, I go places and people are like, they recognize me, you know, and I'm not saying like I'm super popular or I have a big following yet, but if I can just make one person feel a little more worthy, inspired to like go for what they want. It's not even about the whole, only fashion. Like, do you want to be a designer? Do you want to be an artist? Like,
do you want to feel powerful?
Do you want to feel like your authentic self? Mm-hmm. And what does that mean for you? You know, how can you like embody that for yourself individually? So I take a lot of pride in making sure that when people do approach me and they're telling me these things, that I'm fully in it. I'm talking to you. I want you to remember this moment, because you're going to have yours too. Yeah. And I'm excited to see you have it, you know, whether it's me physically seeing it in person or on, you know, the internet, or maybe one day I see you and you tell me that I inspired you. Like, man, I love that. Like I didn't have that. So me being able to do that for somebody else, it makes me feel rewarded.
Oh my God. You know what I just thought of? You said that there are so many people that feel like they're not worthy of like wearing the things that they want to wear, the things that they see on magazines, TV, or maybe just like on a clothing stand or
right.
And they're like, oh, like I love that, but would I wear it? No, I don't feel like I can. And just given the environment that we're in, being in Seattle where it's gloomy,
yes,
dark, and a lot of people suffer from depression, anxiety, and like mental health.
Yes.
Maybe that's the reason why Seattle's fashion scene is the way that it is.
Absolutely. You know, there's no doubt in my mind, as someone who does suffer from anxiety, there's no doubt in my mind that it all goes back to my internal self, right? I feel sad all the time, or I don't feel good enough to dress in high heels because why? It's gloomy outside, you know?
People will look at you funny.
People will look at you funny because most people wear, you know, tennis shoes and a raincoat, you know? Why? Why? You should be able to dress however you want at any given time. And I think that's the origination of fashion. You know, let's take away the fads. It all started with someone expressing themselves and being unapologetic about it.
Yes.
Right? And so that's where I feel like I want to inspire not just women, but men and young girls and young boys who come from a place where being, you know, fashionable is frowned upon. You know, Seattle is, they frown upon you when you dress up too.
Yeah. We live in such a beautiful city.
Yes.
That I don't care.
I don't care.
Like, look at me, all you want.
Yes.
All you want. But seriously, I do think that the reason why we struggle so much is like to be like a stylish community is because people have that insecurity of like, I feel this way. I don't feel like even getting out of bed. You
Right.
can't even try and put on an outfit.
Yeah. Let alone makeup or my hair.
I'd much rather wear. Someone commented on our Instagram today that it's like they said that Seattle is like a tornado. Like a tornado came and dropped on Seattle with Goodwill and pajamas.
Oh.
And that is how everyone. They said that they will wear like a dress shirt and dress pants, and people would ask them why they're like overly dressed. And I thought that was the most outrageous comment I've ever seen on our page, but I think that is very much what we're talking about.
It's like, a culture thing.
It is.
It's a culture thing, and culture doesn't have to stay the same.
No, it can change.
It can change, and it all starts with people like us, people who are unafraid of saying, hey, let's dress the way we want to dress. Just because we live in a rainy state, it's not raining every day.
All the time. Literally, look at this weather right now.
It's beautiful outside. It's beautiful.
We just need to focus more on the positives that we, and the privilege that we have to live in a city like this. Like, there are cities that are much worse.
Yes.
There are places around the world that do not have what we have.
Not even close.
Not even close.
Not even close.
And I think it just takes people consistently being them, unapologetically them, showing up the way that they want to any event, any cafe, whatever, work, however they want to, and that will start to change the narrative. Because I feel like we don't need to continue this way.
No, we don't. We don't.
And I'm not saying that Style Series is going to be the cure to the Seattle fashion scene, but it is. Maybe we should start looking at our environment and taking into consideration that is probably why things are the way that they are.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that it can't change. There are designers like Cin. There are designers like Wallace. There are designers like Dan. There are designers, so many designers, Lisa Marie. There are so many designers that are changing the narrative, and they're trying, and they're killing it. So whether you're somebody that feels like you're not worthy of wearing whatever you want to, whether you're someone that has thought about being a designer, but you're in a city like Seattle, and you're just like, I don't know how I can do that. There are people, there's a community out here that is here to support you, that wants to see you step out into your authentic self and start to change the narrative. And I feel like that is what you're doing.
Yes.
And so we are so proud of you.
Thank you.
I just, as we wrap up, your fashion journey has really been inspiring to Hannah and I, and it will be inspiring to the greater Seattle community. We want to know, what is next for you?
Yeah.
You have some exciting announcements. You have some exciting things coming up.
Well.
Spill the tea.
Yeah, so I just announced I'm going back to New York for the second time around for New York Fashion Week again. And, you know, I've always dreamt about being in New York. I've always dreamt about going to Paris and Milan and being there as me, you know, not tagging along. I'm there because I'm meant to be there. And I just, like I told you before, I fully believe I'm going to be there soon. I just fully, wholeheartedly see my future. And next stop is New York again for the second time. I am working on my nonprofit. It's called the Rise Within Collective.
I want you to talk about it.
And I am really passionate about giving back. The more that I elevate myself, the more I want to give back to my community and inspire other people around me, and especially youth, you know, youth that are at risk or unheard. I really want to give back to that community. And so next year, hopefully, I will be doing another Rise Within fashion show. This time a little more organized and a little bit different, of course, but to raise awareness for at-risk youth. You know, I'm super passionate about that. And then hopefully, you know, having a storefront. That's the next goal, having a place where you can walk in. And it's not just going to be a place where you shop. It's a place for women to come and get styled, men to come and get fitted for that next event, or just upgrading your wardrobe, you know? It starts with a question. What do I want to look like? What do I want to be like? That's what it starts with. And finding the right person, me, help you get there. I feel like I can do that for a lot of people because I'm not afraid to push you out of your comfort zone when it comes to fashion. And so that's my next goal. And yeah, like I said, there's no stopping me. I'm only gonna keep going.
Yeah, so if you don't know her now, you will know her soon. Rise Within.
Mm-hmm.
What inspired it?
I keep talking a lot about those words like shame, worthiness. Growing up, I grew up pretty tough, you know. I grew up in the system, no family, and even now, I'm still very much alone, you know. My family are my friends, you know, and my daughter, and, you know, I'm very thankful to have my daughter's dad in her life. But it all goes back to rising within, right? That shame, that feeling of, I don't have anyone. I have myself.
Yeah, and that's all you need.
That's really all you need. And rising within is something I'm so passionate about because I think all those little things that you told yourself as a child, you know, maybe you didn't have the best upbringing. I'm not the only one. Yeah. You know, if all those things that maybe you're struggling with your mental health or identity or what it means to be a woman or a man, rising within that, you know, rising within yourself to shine through all the darkness that you may feel within inside yourself, shining through that, becoming your best self. It all starts with rising from the inside. You can't do it on the outside. Yeah. It has to start on the inside first. So rising within and then becoming your best self. And I really truly love seeing people be like blossom. Yeah. You know, it makes me feel good seeing that. And so that's what my entire mission goes back to, whether it's, you know, yes, I'm a fashion designer and an artist, but I'm passionate about people and seeing people win and be their best selves is what I love.
So with Rise Within, what is it going to entail?
Rise Within is always going to be a fashion show that gives back to the community. Okay. Every year, that's the goal, to do one, and it's a big show. My first one was in 2022, and it was with over 350 guests. Wow. It was a big show. It sold out. I was very proud to see everyone all over Seattle. Mm-hmm. Seattle, Tacoma. People drove in from Oregon. It was a really powerful show, but the next one's going to be bigger, much bigger. And I definitely love to give back to brands, you know, up and coming brands, small businesses who are struggling to get their feet wet or, you know, get noticed. Rise Within is all about community. It's not, you know, just about the fashion. It's fashion for a cause. Yeah. And I'm passionate about that. So.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
So I got a gift.
You did.
Guys, my love language is gifts.
Good to know.
You be speaking my love language.
Good.
You're just so generous and sweet and kind. What am I about to open right now?
I will tell you this. This piece is from 2022 for Texas Fashion Week. Mm-hmm. And I think it just fits you.
Okay. Okay, I'm so excited. I see lots of tulle. I love tulle.
So this is a skirt that you can take it off the pants. It goes around your waist. Okay. And those little knots right there attached to the pants.
This is, oh my God.
It's just a blazer.
Okay.
And then those are the pants. And those little pearl beads at the top, that's where the tulle goes attached.
That's so cute.
And I think that every time I think of you, I think of tulle.
Really?
Yeah, I think you're so girly and so fun. When it comes to fashion, I think a lot of Chanel when I think of you.
Oh my God, I love Chanel.
And so I really just see you running down the streets of Seattle next to the Space Needle wearing this.
Yes. Oh my God, thank you so much.
You are very welcome.
This is so cute and it's so unique and it's fun.
Super fun.
It's so fun. Yeah, I need to put these on here. I'm not gonna.
And if you ever wear like a white skirt, you can attach the tool to that too. That would be really cute.
Oh my God, Cin, thank you. It's so cute. And then this is a cropped blazer.
Yep. And I just think with some white little pumps.
Or red.
Or red pumps, yes. With a red bra underneath.
Yeah.
A red lacy bra.
About to see me. Catch me outside with this outfit. And y'all know exactly where it came from now. So, oh my gosh, I can't wait to shoot this. This is gonna be so
Yeah, it's going to look really stunning on you.
so much.
You're welcome.
This is so sweet.
You are welcome.
I'm so lucky. I'm so lucky. Wow. Well, there you have it, everybody. This is Cin Barron. We are so happy to have you on the show. Thank you so much for sharing your story, your insights with us. I feel like this is going to really impact a lot of people in a really positive way. And so if you want to find her on Instagram, she's in the description below. We'll have all of the information in the description below. And if you like this video, be sure to drop a comment, like, share, subscribe, all the things. We're really happy you're here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Of course.
Bye, Seattle.
Bye.